So if you've spoken to them on the telephone, or on email, or WhatsApp, Skype, whatever, if you have not physically met them before, if you haven't physically met them, then you would say, how do you do? That's a rhetorical question. We'll come back to that. If you have spoken to them on the phone, you have some sort of pre-existing relationship, then you would say, it's very lovely to meet you at last, or so good to meet you, or something, because you can be sincere about that, hopefully, as long as it is very good to meet them. You say pleased to meet you to someone you had no idea existed until they were standing in front of you. It can be seen as slightly insincere, especially. We would say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, your first and your last name. If I said good evening, Charles, again, good evening, Charles Dickens, aha, now you've heard of me and you can react accordingly. And then you would say, how do you do? Now, if you're not comfortable saying how do you do, but yet you don't want to say pleased to meet you, because some people, however much I tell them, how do you do, it just doesn't fit with their personal brand, or maybe if they are speaking to people from another nationality, they don't maybe get what how do you do is, because often there isn't a direct translation of how do you do. Just leave it off. Say the top two. Good evening, William Hanson, and leave it at that. Good morning, afternoon, evening. It's slightly more formal than saying hello. Hello is fine if it's a slightly more relaxed environment. But again, if you don't quite know the formality of that other person, what they're going to like, what they're not going to like, better to start off more formally and then drop it down. Don't go in too chummy and then find that actually that's not going to work for them. Socially, women get the rank, they get the precedence, they get the respect of being senior to men. So men are introduced to women. So you would say, Mrs. Smith, may I introduce Mr. Jones? Now, look at how balanced that introduction was. I've used the honorific, the prefix, Miss, Mrs. and Mr. I've not gone, Mrs. Smith, may I introduce Bob. The juniors are introduced to seniors, so older people are given the respect. Granny, may I introduce Annie, for example. So women are given the respect and older people are given the respect in a social setting. Professionally, we just go on rank. So lower rank is introduced to higher rank. Higher rank is more important than the lower rank. Mr. CEO, may I introduce Mr. Copy. You've got Mr. Client standing next to you and you bump into your boss, the CEO. Now who's more important? The client is king. The client always wins, because without the client, however much money they bring in, or how much money they potentially could bring in if they're a new client or a client that's thinking about joining, the CEO does not have a job without clients. And so, although in this instance the CEO is more important, you would say, Mr. Client, may I introduce Mr. CEO. How about if you have two clients that you have to introduce? So no CEO, you've just got client A and client B. How long have they been a client? That's normally how the corporates would do it. If they've been a client for 30 years and this one joined yesterday, then this client of 30 years is one of them. So what you remember is most important person, may introduce less important person. You slot in the names and that is the introduction.